Yo, 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 it's Cinderella Sew. What up? Today I'm going to show you how you can take a bed sheet and make it into a dress like this. And this is what it looks like when it's all done. So you can get any bed sheet you want. The part we really want to pay attention to is this folded part that's usually at the top of a sheet. We're going to use that at the bottom of our dress. So you want to grab that end and then just pull the sheet wide, and we're going to fold it in half with those folded parts. So we'll just put them together. Have the sheet folded with the folded part on top. Now you're just going to decide how long you want your dress to be. So if it starts here below your collarbone, however high up you want it, you're going to decide how long you want it to be. And then we're going to put a pin there. So just get some nice pins like that. So I want my dress to stop just a couple inches above my knee. Take that pin, feel where your knee is, and put the pin through the fabric just to mark the space where we're going to cut. So let's keep it perfectly folded in half, and now just flip it so that the pin is straight up from you so we can do a cut. The pin marks how long we want the dress to be, but we're also going to do seam allowance. So we're going to take 4 fingers and hold them there, and then you can just move the pin over. And a rough idea is fine, doesn't have to be precise. So that's actually where we're going to cut so that the dress is the length we want, but we also have a hem. And you're going to take a good pair of fabric scissors. So we're going to start cutting through both layers of sheet at the same time, and you're just cutting towards that pin. The nice thing about sheets is once you make a cut, it will rip straight. So you can also just rip it like that. We've got to the pin. We can take it out. We'll just keep ripping all the way to the other side. So this is the extra part of the sheet. And now when you flip it over again, that's going to be our dress. Right now the sheet has the right side out and the wrong sides together. But when you sew, you put the right sides together. So that means the inside of the sheet where you can see hem, you want those to be on the outside. So we're going to open it up. This is now right sides together, the good sides, and you're going to hold those together. Fold it up nicely again. Now what we have to do is cut armholes. So the way we're going to do that is cut out about the length of your hand and around your hand like that in a bit of an arc. So we're cutting at the raw edge at the top of the dress in that arc position. Then you can use this piece of fabric to measure what you're going to cut off the other side. The shape you cut out from one side, just lay it over top, and then use that to show you where you're going to cut. Like that. And these are going to be our armholes. All we have to do now is sew this one side together, because the other side over here is folded. Some thread and a sewing needle. You're going to cut the thread about the length of your arm, and then you're going to cut it off at an angle like that. And you're going to put it through that tiny hole top of the sewing needle and pull the thread through. So you're sewing with double thread, and you pull it until the ends meet at the bottom like that. Smooth out your thread. So we're going to start on those bottom hems of the sheet, and we're just going to go in through the fabric on the other side of this other hem that's already there along the side. So you want to make sure they're perfectly lined up together at the bottom, and you're just going to put your needle through both layers of sheet. Pull your thread through, but not all the way. You're going to leave a bit hanging out like that. Then we're going to go back through the same area again. When you do that, it creates a loop of thread. You can then put your needle through the loop and pull it shut, and that is a knot. You're going to do that over and over. We're going to do at least 3 knots before we start sewing. So again, just coming up through both layers of fabric, make that loop of thread, put your needle through the loop, don't poke your finger, and pull it shut like that. Perfect. So now that we have 3 knots, we can start sewing. So you want to make sure that these parts of the sheet are nice and lined up. Now we're just going to sew from the bottom all the way to the top. So to sew, all you do is go down through both layers of fabric and out through both layers of fabric at the same time. Then you can pull your needle through like this. And that's 1 stitch. You can do several stitches at once, just going down, up, down, up, down, up, and then pull your needle through. Then you can smooth out the stitches, and there we have a nice line of stitches. After you do 3 or 4 stitches at once, you're going to do a back stitch to lock it in place. That just means you take a step back and come out close to the same hole you just came out and pull it through like that. So again, we'll do another line of stitches, down, up, down, up, down, up. Pull your needle through, pull the fabric so it's smooth, get a nice amount of tension there, not too loose but not too tight, and then you do a back stitch, just like that. So we're going to do that all along here. When you only have about a finger's length of thread left, you're going to want to tie off and rethread your needle. So to do that, you do a back stitch again, taking a step back, coming out close to the same hole you came out, and you create that loop of thread that we use to make knots. Put your needle through the loop, pull it shut, and once we do 2 or 3 of those, we can cut off our thread and rethread our needle. So now we can cut it off, cut some more thread the length of our arm at an angle, pull it till the ends meet, and now you just start sewing close to where you left off. So again, we'll go down and out through the fabric and then back through that same area again. Don't pull your thread all the way through, leave that bit. Then you go back through those same holes or close to the same holes, creating a loop of thread. Put your needle through the loop and pull it shut. So we're gonna do 2 or 3 knots. So now we're just gonna keep sewing all along until we get to the end. Pull through. So we're almost at the end here, and now we're at that bottom part of the armhole, and that's where we will do our knots. 3 knots, we can cut off our thread, and now we'll sew down the armhole, which means you just fold it up once and twice, and you can use your pins to hold that in place. Come to the seam and go down once, twice. Once we have the armhole pinned in place, all we have to do is sew it. So you can take your threaded needle, we just start at one end like we did with our sewing before, up through the fabric and then back through the same area again to create our loop of thread. Put your needle through the loop and pull it shut. And when you do 3 holes like that, you're ready to sew all along the fold. So we're just sewing all along that folded piece, and just take out the pins as you go. You can just go down and up, take out the pin, down, up, pull it through, smooth it out, and then do one of your back stitches to lock it in place. And you just do this all along. It can get a bit tricky when you're going around the curve, but just do your best, fold it in place, and do your stitches. You will not notice it when you're wearing the dress. Next stitch. We're almost done. Okay, so we've sewn all around this armhole, and we're at the other side. All we have to do is 3 of those knots to lock it in place. Then we just do the exact same thing to the other armhole, and we are almost done. So you can cut that off. And now we go to the other armhole and do the same thing. So we're almost done sewing this second armhole. At the end, we're just going to do our 3 knots. And we have our armholes sewn in place. All we have to do now is again do our double roll and sew down the top of the dress like that. Before we do that, we're going to take the part of the sheet that we cut off, and we're going to use its seams to make our strap. So it has nicely sewn seams along some of the sides. You're just going to cut beside one of the seams like this, and just cut all along that seam. So it leaves you with this kind of string that we're going to use to be our straps. And you're cutting close to to the stitching so you don't have much raw edge hanging out. Beautiful, like that. You're going to cut at least 2 lines of hem off the sheet so that we have these 2 long rope pieces. Okay, so we have this laid out. The only hem we need to sew is along the top. And we're going to do the same double roll. But first, we're going to put our strap in. So you can take one of those long pieces of hem that you cut off the sheet and lay it across the top like that. So you can line the strap up with the top of the fabric, fold it once, a little longer than the strap, and then again. And now we're going to sew it in place like that. So it can be tricky to not sew through the strap as well, which you don't want to do. You just want to sew the fabric and leave the strap hanging free. Grab your threaded needle and go through both layers that you're sewing together. Pull your thread through, but not all the way. Back through the same area again. Needle through the loop and pull it shut. And once you've done 3 knots, you're ready to sew all along the fold. Just sewing this double roll in place. So down and up. I'll take out the pin and do a back stitch to keep it locked in. You can kind of feel where the strap is so you know you're not going to sew through it. Down, up, down, up, down, up, and pull. So just keep doing that all the way along. We're almost at the end here. You want these pieces to line up as much as possible, the folded hem and this side of the dress. So you can just hold those in place as you do your last couple of stitches here. Of course, we're going to end with our trusty knots. You do your knot, you're just going to keep those pieces of fabric perfectly lined up. 3 knots, and then we can do the same thing on the other side. You cut off your thread, and now this has all been sewn together, and the strap comes out each side like that. So you can just do a loose little knot of that strap just to make sure it doesn't ever pull out of this piece. Now you're going to sew the other side. Take this other piece of strap and lay it out all across the dress like that. Pin that in place. So we're doing the same thing on the other side, just sewing all along that rolled hem with the strap tucked into the fold. So we're at the other side of the second strap now being sewn in place. We're just doing our 3 knots on top of each other. Last knot, cut this off, and we're done. Okay, so we've now sewn both sides and we have a strap on each side. If you did a little knot on this strap, you can just take that out now. We're going to tie each side straps together like this. So you're going to push the fabric in the dress down so it bunches up, and then tie a bow about 1 hand's width up from the fabric. So just take the 2 straps, and you can always adjust the bow when you have the dress on. So once you have the fabric bunched down like that, you'll go 1 hand's width up and tie another bow. And now we can try it on and see what it looks like. And this is what it looks like when it's all done. Beautiful, breezy summer dress, and it was so easy to do. And you recycled a bedsheet. And you can cut these pieces shorter or leave them long. Just make sure your bows are nice and secure. Thank you so much for watching Cinderella Sew, and I'll see you soon. Peace.